Developing tonight, a federal judge says Arizona's prison system has major health care problems and is ordering independent oversight in an almost unprecedented move. Thanks for joining us tonight for 12 News at 10. I'm Mark Curtis.
And I'm Kadima Devine. After years of the state promising to fix the problems, the court says that it has run out of options. 12 News journalist Maria Stobbs is joining us now in studio. And Maria, this comes after 14 years of litigation.
It does. And despite more than a decade of court oversight, a federal judge says the state prison system continued to provide dangerously unconstitutional medical and mental health care. After 14 years of court orders, sanctions, and failed attempts at reform, a federal judge has decided to take prison health care out of the state's hands.
She notes in her order that this is something that's done extremely rarely, and it's only done when every other option has been exhausted.
Corinne Kendrick is with the ACLU National Prison Project, one of the groups representing inmates in this long-running lawsuit against the Arizona Department of Corrections, Rehabilitation, and Reentry.
We kept going back to court because the medical care and the mental health care were not improving.
Court monitors found widespread systemic failures, including preventable suicides, preventable deaths, dangerous delays in emergency care, and a healthcare system so short-staffed that nurses often had to provide care outside their legal scope of practice.
It frustrates me as a wife knowing that my husband is begging for care and can't get it.
Deanna Epperson says for years she's watched her husband struggle through these delays.
My husband was severely beaten by another inmate and his whole orbit was shattered. Even though he was sent out for outside care, never once did he receive a head scan.
Earlier this week, the Corrections Department pushed back against the motion for receivership, calling a takeover costly, insisting the state has made major improvements in the past 2 years, and saying, quote, a receiver is not the answer. But Kendrick says a receiver would have the authority to make changes the state simply can't under current state law.
There's a state law that, limits how much salary can be paid or the hiring process, and a receiver basically can cut through a lot of that red tape.
The state and attorneys representing prisoners now have 60 days to propose candidates who will take over prison healthcare operations.
We do hope that it makes a difference, and at least for a little bit, we are going to keep our hopes up, but we are also going to keep our eyes open and our ears.
And just within the last hour, Governor Katie Hobbs released a statement saying in part, quote, I'm deeply disappointed in this decision, which fails to recognize the immense strides the Arizona Department of Corrections, Rehabilitation, and Reentry has made over the last 3 years. When I took office, I inherited a prison system plagued by a decade of neglect and mismanagement. Understaffing and lack of adequate health care burdened our correctional facilities. We also reached out to the Corrections Department for comment on the motion being granted, but we have not yet heard back. We're live in studio. Maria Stobbs, 12 News.
All right, Maria, thank you.